Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt, and today I thought I'd bring you guys a tutorial video on how to stream on Twitch and or YouTube using Open Broadcast Software, or OBS for short. It's a free program offered to you by OBS.com or OBSproject.com. If you go over to the website, you can download the either Classic or the OBS Studio. I recommend using the Classic for new users because the OBS Studio is a little bit more for the advanced users. So I recommend using the Classic for now. The Classic is perfect. I've been using it for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now, and I've never had a problem with it. So first things first, once we download the software, it's gonna bring us to this page, and we're gonna want to go to settings first, and then encoding. We're gonna want to figure out what bitrate we can set our stream to, because this is probably the most important. This really determines whether you can stream or not. So we're going to do this first. And so how we're going to determine that is going to be going to back to our browser, and we'll get to this a little bit later. We're going to go to Speedtest. We're going to go to Speedtest. It's going to be speedtest.net actually, and we're going to test our speed. So once we test our speed, we're going to go back to the Open Broadcast Software Estimator. And you can either copy the link. I'll put all the links down in the description so you guys can easily access them. So once we get over here, we're going to select what kind of CPU we have. I have an AMD FX quad-core or higher, so we're going to select that. And next, we're going to select the R9 or higher because I have a GTX 980 Ti, so that's the highest we can go. And let's say we're going to be streaming Call of Duty. So we're going to be picking the high motion FPS tab selection here. And after that, this is the important part. This is why I had you guys test your speed. Let's say we have 50 megabytes uploads. So we're going to convert that to kilobytes per second, and that'll be 50,000 kilobytes per second. And then next year, this is personal preference. I would recommend streaming at 1920 1080p, then downscaling it to 1280 by 720. We'll get in that a little bit later. Once we're done with selecting everything on this left side here, we're going to do the recommended setting selection button there, and to the right here, it's going to bring up a recommended settings list here. So you don't really have to follow these exactly, because I don't really follow them exactly. I'm a little off in the FPS range because I'm doing it 48 FPS streaming. Just because I'm streaming on a console, I'm not using too much of my processor. So anyway, for these settings right here, it's going to recommend us to use it wants us to downscale to a lower resolution, which I don't. My AMD 8350 8-core processor can handle it. So it's really up to you guys. You're going to have to test for that. These are just recommended settings, basic settings to get you started. Obviously, you're going to set it to 30 FPS to start, and you guys can experiment that like what I said. You can experiment with it. I went up to 48. Next, it's going to tell us to try to aim for the highest bit rate possible for high motion games. Obviously, the bit rate is going to come in factor. So it's basically, just think of it as a refresh rate. And if you're moving super fast, you're going to be able to see the pixels if you don't have a high enough bit rate. Just think of it that way. It's probably the simplest way I can explain it. So next, it's going to have us use game capture if possible for maximum performance. Use Windows capture with arrow enabled if game capture is unavailable. So right now I don't have arrow enabled just because I am recording on my desktop today. We're not using much power. So after that is our network advice. We're going to be 50,000 megabytes is sufficient for 720p 1080p, and I'll actually switch that up to, let's say we have like 10 megabytes up. I'll switch to that and see what it shows us. I think the max that you want to be, you don't really want to be much higher than 35, because that really, for a non-partner Twitch channels, it's harder for people to view your Twitch channel because they have to use more, they have to use more download to be able to watch your stream, and not everybody has the grid of the internet. Anyway, we're going to set that to 35 max bitrate and the buffer size to 3500, and enable CFR, CBR. If you guys want to know what CFR or CBR stands for, just go ahead and Google it. I'm not going to explain it for today, but just go ahead and enable those. Then we're also going to see what let's say 10 megabytes upload is going to get us, so 10,000 kilobytes a second at a 1080p resolution. And I don't think it's going to change. It might not change. So it might be, let's say we have only 5 megabytes. It's still not going to change. So let me see. So if we go down to 720p, it'll change. But right now, if we are direct connected getting 5 megabytes upload, it says we are good to go for 3500 bitrate. I don't think that's adequate, to be honest, because you'll be using the internet to play the game. So I don't recommend doing that 35. I might recommend staying around 3000 to maybe 2500 to 3000. If you have a 5 megabyte upload or lower, don't do 3500. After this, guys, once we figure that out, we're going to go into here. Obviously, I'm going to be recording this at 5000 bitrate. We don't have much motion, but I just want to make sure it was crisp for you today. So we're going to change this to 3500 and also going to select our buffer size there. I'm just going to apply it because this is what I stream at, so that way I don't forget tonight when I'm streaming. After that, guys, we're going to want to go into our broadcast settings. So right below the encoding tab is going to bring us to the broadcast setting. And then we're going to select mode live streaming. Then after that, streaming service is Twitch. So that's what I'm streaming on. I think you can do YouTube gaming here if you do on YouTube as well. So right now I'm streaming on Twitch, so we're going to select that. After that, it's going to show us or ask us what server we want to select. I currently live in Florida, so we're going to select the closest server to me, which is the Miami, Florida server. So we're going to select that. And after this, really important, guys, you won't be able to stream without this. So if you go into Twitch here, I'll show you guys on my account here. Twitch. I wonder if I can bring my dashboard up here. Dashboard. So let's just do .tv, and it's Matthew \dashboard, and actually it's not going to make, well, I think it's an automatic login. So after that, once we go to Twitch here, we're going to go to the dashboard, and I'll show you guys on YouTube as well how to get your stream key. So once you get to the Twitch dashboard screen here, if you can't find it, just follow what I did here. I'm going to go to the top right, click on your name, go down to dashboard, and then once you get to dashboard, you're going to want to go look for stream key tab. So we're going to select the stream key tab, and then after that, you're going to click show key. I'm not going to show my key because I don't want to show you guys because that's some private information. I don't feel like changing it right now, so I just don't want to forget to change it later on. Anyway, guys, once you hit the show key, you're going to want to copy and paste that key, and you're going to want to paste it in here. And these should be all defaults, so you don't have to mess with anything other than that stream key. So next, I believe I was going to show the YouTube portion of the stream key here. So for the YouTube stream key, we're going to go to youtube.com, obviously. Then we're going to go to the top right here. We're going to go to Creator Studio. We're going to click on that. It's going to bring us to this page. And once we get to this page, we're going to go to the live streaming tab, and that'll bring us to this page. I already had it open just because it was taking a little while to open. After we get to this page, it's going to be a little confusing. It's just going to be sort of a shock to you guys with all this stuff in front of you. But we'll get to this. Nothing really need to worry about right now. Streaming wise here, obviously you're going to get all the basic info with titling and description. You don't really need to do anything. The first thing you can do is scroll down to the bottom here and go to encoder setup. So once we find encoder setup down at the bottom here, going to want to copy this stream key and this one right here. So we're going to copy that, and then we're going to go over to OBS and copy or paste the stream key over here, and we're not going to paste it in there just because I just don't want to change it for me, but that's what you guys will do. And obviously you're going to have your streaming service selected to YouTube if you're streaming on YouTube. Next, after we've got that all situated, we're going to go to video settings. As OBS recommended was a 1080p resolution, but also it had recommended us to downscale it. And today we're just doing a resolution. It's 1080p. We're not downscaling it. I said earlier that I downscale mine to 720p because it gives us a really crisp, high natural 720p. So we really enjoy that, and it's great for streaming. So also if you are doing 720p, I recommend doing the best detail 36 samples. Really highly recommend that, because that gives you a ton of detail for that. And also, we're gonna re-enable that because when I stream next, we're gonna want that on. So we'll keep that on, and then after this, once we got this figured out, also it just depends on what kind of video adapter as well. If you want your graphics card in there, so we select that, obviously, and then after this, don't really need to worry about the monitors. Just this page is fine. After that, we're gonna go to audio. So we're gonna save that, go to audio, and then we're gonna select our audio device. Right now, I have everything on default in my sound playback devices and recording devices, so everything is on default. There's only one device. I noticed that if you have multiple devices online but not defaulted, it causes some audio issues with the I believe it's audio drivers they have some issues with trying to figure out what you're using and stuff. So I kind of just disable everything I'm not using. Obviously, why wouldn't you? So I have everything defaulted right now that I'm using, and I just select defaults on the desktop audio and microphone auxiliary audio devices. And then obviously we're going to reinitialize that. So we're going to make the connection from OBS to Windows recording and audio devices. So after that, if you guys do in fact have a mic offset problem with your video and your game, we're just gonna experiment it. It's gonna be different for everybody. I'm using my AT2035 with a UX2 audio interface, and I noticed there's a delay between the C920 Logitech camera and the gameplay in my mouth, so I had to do a bit of a 400 millisecond offset that really is not really noticeable, but we did it anyway because it was bothering me. So after this, guys, if you do want to do so, go down to Hotkeys, and what we're going to want to do, we're going to set if you're recording, you can set hotkeys to whatever. I have an F8 and F7 for my start and stop recording, and I also have a hotkey for F8 to mute while I'm streaming. So I don't know why that makes no sense, because it's the same as recording. So we're actually going to clear that, and it's really cool. I use this a lot for scene switching hotkeys. We'll get in that after this all this stuff. After this, guys, don't mess with anything unless you are really comfortable with your settings. I've been messing with the CPU preset. If you have a Buffy computer, this definitely would make your stream a lot clearer, because it's going to throw a little bit more memory and processing power at the X264 CPU preset, which is that it's a sort of a video codec that it's using to push out those pixels. So obviously, I may have explained that wrong, but I had it on, I believe, fast for a while, and I know it's very choppy. It doesn't leave me much room to have our free processing power to use. So we changed that back to very fast. I believe it's on super fast to begin with. I'm not sure. I haven't used default settings in a while. So none of these other tabs I do not use. The quick sync encoder I don't use. This I do not use. The microphone noise gate I don't use, because my UX2 offers the noise gate as a standalone, so I don't use this at all. The scene switcher, you guys can mess with that. I do not mess with anything. I just try to keep it simple. So after we figured all that out, we're good to go. We're good to start adding our overlays in here. So once we get in this screen, I'm not going to be able to show you guys the outside view, because I'm recording with OBS right now. So let's say we want to add a image, like a watermark. So I want to watermark my stream. So we're gonna go into let's see, I'm gonna find a good image to watermark my stream, and that's a nice M. So we're gonna put the M down here, and this really goes for anything. If you guys want to put an overlay, you guys see overlays, they're all images. So we're gonna put like a nice little watermark down here. And then if we want to change the opacity, we're going to right click, then go down to properties, and let's say we want to turn it to 50% opacity. Actually, I think that's a little too clear, so let's go down to like 25. Ooh, that's good. So now we have a watermark on our stream. If we do want to have a watermark on our stream, I do not use a watermark. So That's just something a little extra to show you guys. And then maybe we want some sort of image or another image, like maybe we want an overlay. We want to put an overlay on there. So we'll go to our overlays. If you guys have an overlay or something, you want to select this. We'll hit maybe we want to use the our bottom section with all our donations and stuff, and at the bottom there. So we'll add that, and then we can push up our watermark there by hitting the select or edit scene button here. Also, if we want to crop out our image a little bit, we can do the Alt plus click on the side here, and we'll drag it over. Maybe we just want like a side of the M showing or something. I don't know. Why would we want to do that? But we can maybe like put it over here. Like, what is that? There's arches on the side of your screen, Matt, or something. I don't know. That'd actually be pretty cool. We could put that like on either side. I don't know. So that's basically that's what we want to do, and I'll show you guys. We'll actually go to my my Elgato and let's see, camera only in game. This is where my Elgato and my overlay is set up. So what up, guys? I don't have my lights on, so this is what it looks like. This is what my screen looks like. We're gonna have our music up there on the top left, as you guys can see, and we're also gonna we're gonna have our notifications down here. I won't get into this today, guys. This is a little advanced for you guys. So now we're just worried about streaming right now. So after that, we're just gonna go back down to our scene. We're gonna deselect all this stuff, and that's pretty much it. Pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's pretty basic. Like I didn't go really into some of these things. Like let's say we want to add a camera. We'll add a video capture device. So we'll hit right click, add, and then before that we can actually, if we want to add a scene, we'll right click and then add a scene right there. So let's say we add a scene, the scene right here, and it'll bring us up over to here. And then let's say we want to add a game capture, or no, let's add a video capture device. So I already have mine on global, so it's not going to let us add it. So let's say we want to add my C525 pointed at my keyboard. It's already going to say I have a global source. So if you guys want to add global sources, you're going to go over to the global source here. That way you don't have to keep adding it in manually. You can just go over to the global source and hit add, or hit OK. So we want to say we are add our top camera that's facing our keyboard, down on our keyboard there. We're going to go to add and then global sources, and we're going to hit our C525 720p. It's going to be pointing at our keyboard here. So hi guys, there's my hand. So we're going to add that, and let's say we want that in the background or something. So we'll put that down, and like I did before, we're going to go to our we can go to our settings and stuff and do all kinds of things. We can mute the audio, we can enable the audio. We can also crop it out if we want, so we can make it smaller, crop it out. We can just have my phone right there with like, I don't know. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to use OBS with Twitch and YouTube streaming. If you guys did happen to like the video, obviously make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one.